I'm not willing to make a decision about having kids now if it's not right, for a fear that I have in the future.
Can I call bullshit?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Relationship Theory. I am your co-host, Tom Bilyeu, and I am here with the lovely, beautiful, and talented...
Wow. Lisa Bilyeu. I thought you were going to finish it off there.
No, I figured I'd let you jump in on your own. Welcome, guys. Always a pleasure to have you guys here with us. Excited to be doing another episode of this.
All right. So from last week, we have a question that was from Jermaine Sabland Cabrera on Facebook. He said, "Hey guys, my wife and I have been married for 5 years. Unless our minds change for something different, we won't be having kids for another 4 to 6 years. My wife is 26 years old. I'm 27. Friends, family, acquaintances constantly ask us about having kids, why we're not having them sooner, and to not wait until we're after 30 to have kids because it's more dangerous and we'll be too old to really enjoy them.
Wow.
However, we don't believe that ourselves because every year we live healthier and stronger lives. Do you two hear similar responses when the kids topic pops up, and how would you respond?"
Do you want to...
Go for it.
We did probably hear that back in the day. We don't really hear that anymore. I think at this point, people have really given up on us having kids. We've been so consistent with the fact that that's not the path that we've chosen out for a long time. But yeah, in the beginning, I think people were pretty encouraging of us to do it early. It's so common now, though, that people wait until after they're 30 that, I don't know, I don't think it's a big deal. I think there is some biology that you're up against, and there's no question that risk factors do go up the longer that you wait. But I would say anywhere south of 35, it's probably not a big concern. Start getting north of that, and they start doing, like, I think amniocentesis, which is where they check the amniotic fluid for like Down syndrome. And I'm definitely out of my depth here, but if memory serves, it's that and maybe some other things that they do start checking for as like a matter of course post 35. So, you know, take that into consideration. But I don't know. And for me, because also when we were considering having kids, adoption was also a very potential strategy, so I wasn't that freaked out about age.
But I think that was more for you than me.
That's why I was kind of waiting for you to lead off. Like when it comes to kids, I think there's a lot more pressure on you. And
yeah, I mean, I think, so the one thing I want to address here is he said, you know, we're healthier and happier than ever, so I'm not tense.
Right.
The one thing that me and you did is we had that brutal discussions. Like every time we wait, like you said, like I think it does change the chances of getting pregnant, right, as you get older.
Well,
so
it definitely does.
So, but so they're saying like we're happy and healthier than ever, so we're not stressed. The one thing we did is we had the honest discussion. If we wait, and even if we're eating healthy, we're working out, if we wait, is it a risk we want to take? Like, is knowing that I'm not getting any younger, every year it gets more and more difficult for me to conceive. So even if, you know, I'm staying healthy, there is that risk. And is that risk worth it? And I think that's what you really need to ask yourself. Like, is it worth it? Like, if you guys go, you know, in 5, 10 years, she may not be able to have children, or whatever the situation may be. Did I make that right decision? You know, and we talk about that even with the decision to not have children. I always say, you know, in 5 years, in 10 years, God forbid something happened to you. I mean, there's so many different things that, you know, we have to think about. And the one thing for me is I don't ever want to have regrets.
That's so weird. Like, and you say that all the time, but like, you're going to have regrets, like 100%.
Sure.
I can make any human being a guarantee because your regrets are based on where you are in that moment in your life.
But if I've analyzed it, I go, okay, back then I thought this way. And so I regret having made that decision.
All right,
but
you ready?
But I've really analyzed it. Yeah, go on.
I die.
Yeah, and we've
10 years from now. So now you're really screwed.
Yeah, so we've spoken
what, are you gonna
about
regret
this.
it?
Like, God forbid something happened to you. No, because I've really looked at the situation and I've taken both circumstances.
So, but what do you, because emotionally you will feel it. Emotionally, this is not how I would look at this situation. I want to be abundantly clear. And I don't advise, by the way, having kids to stave off loneliness. I think that is a suicide mission emotionally because your kids are programmed to leave you.
Yes.
But let's ignore that for a second. 10 years from now, not going to be able to have kids of your own anyway. You could still obviously adopt, but you're not going to have kids of your own. I die. And like emotionally in that moment, the way that you see the world, you will wish you had had kids.
Yes, but I think I would be able to intellectually say to myself, I analyzed the situation. I predicted that this could happen. Not predicted, but
So how would you handle it? Would it be frustration, anger?
No, I think I would.
Gleeful acceptance?
I think it would be, I don't know about gleeful, but I think it would be absolute acceptance. Like, I knew this was a possibility. I made the choice, right? It's, in essence, I hate to say it, but it's a gamble. It's a gamble between what if something happens? But I'm not willing to make a decision about having kids now if it's not right, for a fear that I have in the future.
Can I call bullshit?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it comes down to fulfillment. Like, one of the reasons I think people have kids, it seems from the outside, I have not had kids, so I can't swear to it, but between having worked with kids and having pets, I hate to say it, but there is a sense of fulfillment that you get out of that. I think that's one of the huge drivers. And I think that's why for you, having gotten so into business and building something and all that, I think that you would need fulfillment. But my gut instinct is, well, how about this? From the grave, I'm advising you now, if that happens, don't waste a second thinking about it being a thing between he lived and I didn't need kids and he died and now I wish I'd had kids.
Right.
You need to find fulfillment in building something, becoming something. Like it's not the choice between husband and kids. It's really not. And I think that that's super dangerous. I think you need to be fulfilled and you need to have something at the core of your being that like makes you feel like you're giving something, you're connected to people. And you have Dr. Drew, who I'm researching right now for tomorrow's interview. That guy is interesting, man. That guy is interesting. And one of his hypotheses that we will be talking about tomorrow for sure is that fulfillment is entirely 100% about the other. It's about somebody else. It's about connecting. It's about developing a skill set, which is very interesting. I want to talk to you more about. It's about developing a skill set that is of use to somebody else. So not just like ladling soup, but like you have a skill set that is useful to somebody else. And I think, this is interesting. I've never thought through this. I think you would start advising people. And I think that you would get into that like in a crazy deep way.
Yeah. But let's backtrack for a second, because I don't think I would necessarily. And look, who knows, right? When you're in a situation, you don't know how you're going to exactly act unless you are actually in that situation. You can prepare yourself. But I think that if, God forbid, I lost you and something happened, I don't know if I would want kids because like, oh, it's a fulfillment now that I set aside and I actually do want. I don't think it's that. It's literally, I would want something connected with you. And that's why I would be sad that we didn't. Because I know, and look,
you'd have to fall in love again, like all of that stuff. And the last thing I want to do is be haunting you from the grave.
Yeah,
like,
but that's not your decision. It's literally
just because I'm dead, I don't have a say anymore.
All I'm saying is that God forbid something happened to you.
Right.
My instinct, knowing myself well enough now, is I wouldn't want a piece of you to hold on to.
Would or wouldn't?
I would.
Right.
And so I think that that's where I would be sad that I didn't have children, because now I don't have a piece of you.
Can we set aside a t-shirt or something?
But we've discussed not necessarily your sperm, but we've definitely spoken about freezing my eggs.
Yes.
And so that was another thing. Like, in analyzing not having kids, we thought about every situation, every scenario, and if we didn't, if we changed our minds and I was, in my 40s, like, what would we do? And so that was a possibility of but I wouldn't freeze your sperm and then like inseminate once you're gone. Like, that's not what I was looking for. But I think that's, if I was to regret not having children, I think that would be the reason, because I'd want a piece of you to hold on to. Like, I just want, it'd be so cute to have a little son with like your personality.
Yeah, why don't you ask my mom how cute I was as a kid?
True.
I was a nightmare.
Oh, I'd still love you.